of our third child 33 years ago, our small rental house had seemed to shrink. George's grandmother had just left us a $12,000 inheritance, so the doors were now open to possible home ownership. Not only did we want the tax advantages homeowners enjoyed, but we were tired of putting money into fixing up a house that didn't belong to us. Our budget was $105,000, and finding a house at that price in Orange County back then was a real challenge. We were shown a house in a graffiti-laden neighborhood, others that were too small, and some that were out of our price range. We gave up the idea of owning in that area and searched for a home in Riverside County. We looked at a place we could afford in Corona, but the houses either had bars on all the windows or were too expensive. In the process, I learned the home buyer's golden rule. Location is everything. We soon found out location wasn't everything. Our real estate agent, Vicki, called to tell us about a house in Buena Park in an excellent area that was up for bid starting at $105,000, just within our range. The surrounding homes were valued somewhere in the neighborhood of $130,000. I was dying to see the house. On a dreary, overcast day, while George was at work and the kids played at the Sitters, Vicki drove me down a street lined with tall sycamores, elders, and crepe myrtles. This enticed me to settle there and raise our children in a wholesome environment. The area was made up of 30-year-old tract houses with manicured lawns and colorful flower beds. We pulled in front of a corner house. Although it was missing most of its greenish-brown paint, a few chips still clung to its eaves. The picket fence, painted to match, still stood here and there. "Oh boy," I said to Vicki, "it will need fresh paint." She agreed and searched for the lockbox, which was nowhere to be found. "Let's take a peek in the back," Vicki suggested. She pushed on the gate to enter the backyard, and a corroded hinge broke off as the gate creaked and swung open. The crumbling block wall didn't destroy my hopes, nor did the wealth of junk that filled the walkway and patio. Rusty box springs, a stained mattress split down the middle, an aging stove, shards of glass, broken tools, and miscellaneous parts to a deserted automobile. Vicki looked at me and bit her lip. I shrugged. "Well, this stuff should be easy enough to haul away." Vicki nodded. We inched our way closer to the sliding glass doors, which were slightly ajar. "Oh, look, someone forgot to close the door," Vicki said. "A lucky break." She slid the door open, and a strong, musty smell mixed with the stench of a rotting animal assaulted us. "Whew!" I waved my hand in front of my nose. "It certainly will need to be aired out." I wondered if we could bid as low as $80,000. Vicki shot me a half smile. "Do you still want to go in?" "Sure," I said, refusing to let anything discourage me. Once inside, we stopped in the dining room to let our eyes adjust to the darkness. We got a good whiff of stale beer. "Must have been some party," Vicki joked. Once our eyes focused, we noticed the filth and grime topped with a heavy coat of dust that covered every surface. We wound our way around decrepit furniture through what must have been the living room. A sofa oozed blobs of stuffing. We tiptoed over bottle caps, beer cans, torn books, newspapers, and slashed carpet. I wonder if they'd accept a bid of $50,000 or less, I thought out loud. I asked Vicky for her professional opinion. How much do you think it would cost to clean up this place? I'm not sure, but it would be worth a try to put in a low bid. It's certainly a beautiful neighborhood, she reminded me. It certainly is, I agreed, wondering if we could bid as low as $40,000. Plunging further into the house's bowels, we took care not to touch anything. My hopes for transforming this prime location fixer-upper into our dream home dimmed to a flicker when I noticed that the hardwood floors in the kitchen buckled into wave-like formations, cresting almost 12 inches off the foundation. Darn, the whole floor will need to be replaced, I said. What the heck is that stuff all over it? Vicky asked. It looks like insulation or something. We were aghast when we looked up to find a gaping black hole staring back at us. Half the ceiling was missing, and debris littered the hardwood. A spark of hope managed to break through my lingering doubts, and I asked, "How much would a new ceiling cost?" "I don't know," Vicky answered, "but I think it needs a new roof too. A leak probably caused the cave-in, and water buckled the floor." I appreciated her honesty and wondered if a $25,000 bid might justify buying such a place. Back in the car, I sensed Vicky felt she had gone above and beyond the call of duty. So I thanked her and told her I was still interested and would discuss the situation with George. George and I seriously considered putting in a bid, a very low bid, but came to our senses by the next day. Vicky said she understood. She called me weeks later to inform me that she found out an old woman had died in that house. "Only one?" I asked. She chuckled. 7 months later, my sister gave me a booklet listing new homes out in San Bernardino and Riverside counties that were very affordable. On a last-minute impulse, I packed up the kids and headed out into new territory. After dragging 6-year-old Michael, 5-year-old April, and 1-year-old Amy all over Moreno Valley, we made our way to San Bernardino. The homes were nice in both areas, but they weren't quite right. My patience dwindled, as did my supply of crackers and Cheerios, and the kids grew crankier. Crumbs and juice cartons littered the car. When fatigue set in, we headed for home. But I got lost and ended up in a city called Highland, which I had never heard of before. I followed the arrows pointing the way to model homes and found the rural setting both serene and alluring. Some horses grazed in a field near the homes, their tails swaying and manes flowing freely in the soft breeze. Behind them, humble foothills bowed in reverence to noble mountains rising above them. My fatigue vanished into a dreamy notion of country living. The saleswoman informed me that the models were closed because the sprinklers were being installed and the open trenches were a hazard. I didn't hide my disappointment, and when I told her how far we had come, she had a change of heart. As we plodded through the freshly churned dirt, I carried baby Amy and warned my other two kids to be careful as I led the way, stepping over the trenches. Michael dared to jump over them and soon fell into an open hole, while cautious April tiptoed behind us. The models were tastefully decorated in a country motif. I liked all of them, but the two-story reminded me of a fairy tale house. "Look, it has stairs!" Mike and April squealed as they ran up and down twice before obeying my commands to stay right next to me. There was a brick fireplace in the family room, high ceilings in the living and dining rooms, and a large clear-story window above the front door. The beautiful ash wood cabinets looked like oak, and the wooden railing on the stairway added extra appeal. The price was right at $91,000. We put a deposit down the next day. 3 months later, as moving day drew near, fear and insecurity gripped me at the thought of moving so far away from our friends and family in Orange County. Suddenly, I felt as if God was speaking to me. "Wherever you go, I will be with you always. If you go to the ends of the earth, I will be there." Fear was replaced with peace in knowing we were in good hands. Moving day didn't go as planned, but then plans never turn out the way you expect them. The large, round, clear-story window was missing. It had been there for the walk-through, but had been installed wrong. When the new one arrived, it didn't fit, so they left an open hole to bid all the flies in Highland to gather inside and greet us when we arrived. Also, a thick layer of fresh country dirt covered the upstairs bathroom. One of the workers had left the window open just in time for a November windstorm. But our bright, beautiful, off-white house trimmed in Cape Cod blue looked splendid nonetheless. We settled snugly into our new home with the spectacular San Bernardino Mountains right in our backyard. As a sign that God was indeed with us, a white dove made its nest at the top of the column of our front porch. Life in Highland proved to be fruitful. Our fourth child, Susie, was born 3 years later. Oops! We soon discovered that we had outgrown our lovely storybook home. Time to start house hunting again. Imagine our delight when the larger house next door went up for sale.